Hi everyone, Jennifer here. In today's video, I'm going to share 10 actionable tips for you to combat stress. Welcome back to the Daily Connoisseur. My last video on stress was one of my most watched videos of the previous month. That shows me that this is a topic that affects many people. A lot of you are interested in this. Why? Because a lot of us are stressed, and I would say that the adult population is probably riddled with stress. I even saw a study recently that said children these days have really high stress levels, especially when compared to children of the past. Why is this? Why are we so stressed out? Well, today I'm going to share 10 things that you can actually do to combat stress. Now, I actually discussed this with Ben, and we did an experiment. I wrote down 10 things and he wrote down 10 things, and we shared them with each other, and we were just laughing because they were so different, okay? I don't know if that's the male and the female perspective, but all of mine were actionable tips, and all of his were mental shifts. So give this video a thumbs up if you want me to bring back Ben on the channel so that he could share his 10 mental tips for combating stress. Before we jump into my tips, today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. They brought us our last video on stress as well, so I'm very grateful to Skillshare. It's a wonderful company. It's an online learning platform for creators, and they have over 25,000 classes on name it. I mean, just anything that you want to learn, any type of skill, lots of artistic skills, things like watercolor, penmanship, graphic design classes, photography classes, writing classes. They also have business classes. There's so much on Skillshare. It's a wonderful way to cultivate a skill and to just sharpen up your mind, really. Premium membership to Skillshare gives you unlimited access, so you can join the classes and communities that are just right for you and your goals. It's also super affordable. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month. So there are over 7 million creators that are learning with Skillshare. The first 500 of my subscribers to use the link below will get 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free. So you can check it out and see if they offer the type of classes that you are interested in. I just want to thank Skillshare again for sponsoring today's video. Okay, in no particular order, here are my 10 actionable tips to help combat stress. Tip number 1, and I discussed this in the last video, get out in nature. I'm mentioning this first because I feel like this is the best one. It's the one where you can instantly dissolve your stress. Get out into nature. We are inside all the time. Some of us are under fluorescent lights, whether you're a student in a classroom or they have them in your work. You know, we're confined indoors. We spend a lot of time. Adults are so sedentary these days. We just sit down on our computer or we're sitting on the sofa watching TV. We need to get out in nature, and that helps to de-stress. So whether you go on a walk, which I love to do with my kids, or whether you sit down and observe nature, maybe you go to a beautiful place and just sit down on a bench and observe, right? If you're going to be sedentary, you might as well be sedentary in nature. Or you have a picnic outside, whatever it is, get out into nature and observe it. Be very present. That is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to spend meaningful time with your children. Now, you might not have children, but you probably have a niece, a nephew, a cousin, someone that you could spend time with. Children are great for de-stressing. I know that doesn't sound logical because sometimes our children are the cause of our stress, but if you just step into their world for a moment, you know, my daughter just had a birthday and we got her the most amazing dollhouse and little mouse set, and she has the cutest little toys. I have found it so therapeutic to just sit down and just play with her with this house, and we play and we spend so much time dressing the mice and playing in this little house. You know, with my son, I love playing tractors. These aren't things that I normally like to do. Normally my busy mind is thinking, I need to do the dishes, I have to, you know, order groceries, I need to do some work, I gotta mop the floor. I don't want to stop and spend time with them, but you do it if you just sit with them, play with them, read aloud to them, and truly do it, and disconnect from your phone, put your phone away. I'm getting to that tip later. You know, that actually dissolves the stress. I really find that it does. Okay, I mentioned putting the phone away, which brings me to the next tip, which is to disconnect from social media for an extended period of time. I am fortunate enough, like many of you are, to have known the world before social media entered the picture. And we would just go about our day, just being ourselves. You do you, I do me, and we just do what we do. But now on social media, we are so connected to people, but not necessarily in the best way. And I know this, I know the struggle because I use social media for work. So, you know, I'll post a picture of myself, an outfit of the day, and then I find myself going to look to see what people think. And do I have any haters, or do people like the outfit, or you know what I mean? And I'm just focused on that, and it's not good. Now, I have to do it for work, so I'm not giving it up. But I'm saying to step away from social media for an extended period of time. Give yourself a good balance. If you find yourself constantly on your phone, constantly checking Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever it is that you like to do, that actually causes stress. Why? Because we're spending so much time on that. We're not being efficient in other areas. We're not spending meaningful time on things. And that is stressful. So meanwhile, other things go unnoticed, like our house or our job, our children, and then we're on this, we're not happy about it, but yet we can't stop. Do you see? It's a vicious cycle. So I like to take extended periods of time where I do not go on social media. Also, don't go on it first thing in the morning, okay? Do other things before you go on. If you wake up and the first thing you want to do is check your Instagram, I personally think there's a problem there. And I've totally done this, by the way, so I'm not saying I don't do this. I just don't like that. I think that, you know, when our mind goes there first, it's not that good. And it causes stress. And this is why I don't like posting on Instagram, because I honestly, the texting and the physical act of just typing into my phone takes so long. And I'm like, while I'm doing this, I could be doing something more efficient, you know? So take an extended break. Okay, my next tip, read a book. Read a book. We watch too much television. We need to read more. If you just truly take 20 minutes out of your day in the afternoon and lay down with a book and read it, it's good for your stress. It truly dissolves it. It's good for your children to see you reading. It's good because it just takes you out of your troubles and your worries. Read a book. Here's a funny clip from my video, Things Daily Connoisseurs Say, where I'm reading, I think, Shakespeare's tragedies. That's not a book that I would typically read, but that was like a comedic video. But yes, read a book. And I read every single day. I don't watch TV anymore, so I like to read, and that helps me to combat my stress. Tip number 5 is for spa-like self-care. So when I told this tip to Ben, he just started laughing because he's like, I'm not gonna do this. But for us ladies, it matters. So at night, I like to run a nice hot bath. I'll put oils in the bath. I will put a mask on my face. I will paint my nails. I will do spa-like self-care. And that just takes me out of my stress. And it honestly, the best thing I can do for myself is put a face mask on, because when I feel stress, I feel it in my skin, and it's like it purifies my skin. So I love to do that. Tip number 6 is to get a massage. So I'm fortunate that my children massage my back, and so does Ben every now and then. I also have various massagers, like I have that rolly thing. I think it's here actually. I have this thing, which I lay on, and it's great for just getting the tension out of my neck and shoulders. I also have that shiatsu hot stone massager. I just get so much tension in my neck and shoulders from stress, and the physical act of getting a massage helps to dissolve that, and it does every time, so I highly recommend that. Okay, tip number 7 is to work with your hands on something like knitting, sewing, crocheting. I used to do a lot of that back in the day. But now I like to do things like crafts. During Christmas time, I'll make a wreath, for example. I like to arrange flowers. Just work with your hands. Let me know down below how you like to work with your hands. Everybody does something different, and you could give some good ideas to people in the comment section below. But if you get into a project, you know, use your hands. It's very therapeutic. Tip number 8 is to do some gardening. You know us, we're the clueless gardeners, and if we can do it, you can do it. I don't care if you have a balcony or a big plot of land. Do some gardening, get your hands dirty, get them in the soil. You know, when you start growing your own vegetables like we do, that is just amazing. At night, I can walk into the garden and pick some lettuce and make a salad from it. You know, it's so amazing to grow roses and have fresh cut roses that we can arrange in our home. Gardening reduces stress. It totally does. I know so many of you can agree with this. So do some gardening. Tip number 9 is to listen to classical music. Whether you like it or not, just try it. I hope that you're all taking part of my Chic assignments because I am sharing a different classical music piece to listen to each month. And so many of you are discovering your love for classical music. But it's not just me who's telling you that it's going to reduce stress. There are actual studies that show that classical music reduces stress. I even just got a comment today on the Chic assignment from somebody who didn't leave their name. But she wrote, "Hi Jennifer, I was listening to a podcast about anxiety with my husband last night. He's a counselor and I have a business helping families simplify at home, so this is a topic we both share a great interest in. The discussion included ways to take your body from the sympathetic state, fight or flight, to a more relaxed parasympathetic state. One of the ways was through listening to music with 70 beats per minute, such as classical music. In fact, studies show that your heart will beat in time with classical music. Isn't that fascinating? It made me think of your classical music advocacy, but it's true. We've had the kitchen renovation this month, like I said, and I'm filming this video in the month of May, and we're listening to Eric Satie's Gymnopédies, and that piece has just de-stressed me on the times where I've just felt in despair because our surroundings are so upturned right now with the kitchen. My last tip for combating stress, an actionable tip, is to just get in the kitchen and make something from scratch. I love to make pies, so I will get my apron on, I will make a pie from scratch, but I love it. You know, on a weekend, I'll get in there, I'll make freezer meals, I will start cooking, I'll make a big stew for my family, get the apron on, get the music on, and just get in there and start cooking for a long period of time. Bake some bread. It de-stresses you. Why? Because we're meant to do this as humans. We're meant to make our own food and to nourish ourselves in that way. Those are my 10 actionable tips. I hope that this video spoke to you. I would love to hear your tips down below. Again, let me know if you want to hear Ben's mental shift tips, okay? I'd love to bring him on to show you. I think I could convince him if he sees enough thumbs up on this video. I would also like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check out their link below so that you could try Skillshare Premium for 2 months absolutely free. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Daily Connoisseur, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!